Car salesman, your dealership lies and steals every time you sell a car. Part 2. In the last video, I said put your number one reason I should give you a free session, and that winner goes to VRDZ. You are the winner of the free session. Congratulations. But I am going to do a live stream tomorrow night right around 10 p.m. my time, Florida time. So make sure to be there and you can get your questions answered as well. Man, so last video blew up. Tons of comments, great video. I got tons of views on it, but you know, there's some negative comments or some stuff people didn't understand. So I have 7 comments I'm gonna go over, but I want you guys to know, last video was to show you how much money is on the back. I think people were really blind to how much money finance is holding, how much the dealership's holding on the back end when you present your pencil. Comment number 1, Tony, what if they ask for a discount? Okay, so I sold Jeeps, a Jeep Wrangler, off of MSRP, they'd only give $500 to $1,000 off. So if you have a popular vehicle or a vehicle that really holds its value at your dealership, use that one as an example. Explain how there's not a lot of discounts or none at all that are on vehicles that hold their value. Maybe it's because they're reliable and people still buy them with a bunch of miles on them, whatever you guys want to say. So use something that explains it holds its value really well. Any car that has a lot of discounts depreciates very quickly. Number 2, what if they see the price down the line and you lose front and back? So again, my first video was just to open your eyes to see how much money there is in the back end and how much you guys are able to take off just by the term and the rate when you focus them on payment. Now in the beginning, I don't want you to get the best rate possible. I'm not trying to say take money from finance right away. I want you to know that you're closing them on the finance part and on that rate up front so finance won't have to do it. But that being said, I want you guys to still go for all the money front and back because you might get it. But if you don't get it, if you try to close, even the best of us aren't going to close that first pencil every time. I want you to go to term, and then after going to term, because you can go to term and finance doesn't get affected if you go for a longer term. But I want you guys to go for term first and then rate if you have to. Don't go for your discounts first because that's when you start losing money. Number 3, how do you go from $50,000 out the door to $54,500 like in my last video? So I use that as an example of how much you could have made up front and still close them on that payment. So up front, you should always give first pencil with all the money on the out the door price. Okay, so add an appearance package, all-weather floor mats, get creative, okay? All this stuff, you can add profit to it and price it at what you want. Another thing you guys might not know is when you do that first pencil, your dealership, if you're like a big corporate dealership or even like a self-owned dealership, a lot of them get audited. So they save every pencil. You can't go from $50,000 to $54,500. You have to start off at the bigger number. So you have to add something. In worst case, you take it off, but add something, focus them on payment, then term if you have to negotiate, and then do the rate, and then discount if you must. And if it's like a pre-owned vehicle, add reconditioning or something like that, which is like a shop bill. How I explain that is just like if you had a trade-in, you'd see us take pictures. If you were to trade it in, we'd put it on the website like starting tomorrow because we turn vehicles and sell them very quickly here. So it'll still need to go through the shop, and that's something that we add later. This is just like crazy. You know how many objections and how many things there are with the out the door price that they're gonna bring up? I would never go to the out the door price unless they're paying cash. Okay, if they're financing, then talk about payment. Only talk about out the door if they're paying cash and writing a check. So when I train people, I always train them in a way that they can overcome the out the door price. The client won't even look at the out the door price because of how much value that you build, not only in the car, but also in your dealership. If somebody were to ask me about my pricing or anything on a vehicle before we even test drove, this is killing emotion. They're trying to kill the emotion in the sale, and I don't want to feed into it. So I'm going to say something like, listen, I did a lot of research before picking this dealership. Okay, I looked at every single dealership and I wanted to make sure if I handed out pricing, nobody beat it by $500 or $1,000. That's why I picked this dealership. So if you like the car, I'll make sure you like the price. You like the way it looks? Perfect. I'm gonna go run and grab the keys. Right back into the process, and that's gonna bring the emotion back up. So that does three things to the client. First, you're putting yourself in their shoes and saying, I did the same thing you're doing, looking for the best price. Then you're overcoming that they need to keep shopping and look for prices. You did your research for them. You already looked at all the dealerships before you picked this one to sell at because of pricing. Then you said if you like the car, you'll like the price, and you brought the emotions back up. See, when you do this to people, when it gets down to the pencil, they're not even gonna look at the out the door number. You already overcame that and told them you did your research for them pretty much. Also, you got them to enjoy the test drive. They weren't thinking about price the whole time. See, people don't even know the best price. They think that the internet price isn't a good price. So that shows you right there. So you have to make it appear to be the best price and say something that makes sense to the customer. Even if I were to land somebody on a pre-owned vehicle, I would say, hey, do you guys like the way this one looks? I got a really good deal on it. I just took it in. We actually own it for under what it's worth. We have an average shop bill around $2,500, but this was in great condition, so it didn't need much done. You like the way it looks? And see right there, you guys, that person's not gonna look at the out the door price, what you're selling it for. They don't know what a good price is. If it's $15,900 or $17,900, they don't know what it books out for. They don't know what the car's worth. So they're just gonna pick a payment that works. Number 5, it's not your job to close them on finance, just sell the car. So if they're not paying cash, don't talk about the out the door price. They're only making that payment. Take in mind, internet price. They think that internet price is like MSRP. Constantly people try to negotiate the internet price. So whoever's writing this comment definitely discounts the vehicle. They try to close them on the out the door price, which is not the right thing to do. Focus them on payment and use the tips that I gave you earlier. Now let's say somebody gives you, some objection like I'm not getting enough for my trade, and they go over the out the door price. They might see one thing, give you an objection. You solve it, tell them, hey, I saw it was worth anywhere from 9 to 10,000, so we're able to give you 10 for it. Take in mind we have a shop bill, so we're gonna own it for a little bit more. Our average shop bill is around $2,000. But the good things is, and then tell them about their tax savings. How much money they're saving in taxes by having a trade-in. I have a video on that if you want to check it out, but that's what I do. I hit them with that rebuttal and I bring them back to payment. Now it's time to push them out 84 payments. 72 payments, it's a standard loan with money down. Most of my customers go 84 payments. When you put no money down, you finance the whole car, your taxes, tag, everything. A standard loan is 84 payments. And take in mind, you can never pay less, but you can always pay more. If you do pay any more than the 84 payments, it's interest free. So even if you go 84 and pay the 72, whatever that difference is, $100, it's interest free. Just hit them with something like this. So if you were to buy a $500,000 house, and you were to get it for $300,000, you got a great deal. But you're not gonna go 15 years, your mortgage is gonna be too high. But as long as you get a good deal on the house and you have a comfortable payment, that's a good deal. So if they want more of a discount, that's not the route I'm going. I'm pushing them out 84 payments at first. Me and finance, we both don't lose money. But if I have to start working on the rate and get the rate lower, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna take myself and my money for my family, and I'm gonna hold on to that. Before I give any money up, I'm gonna get rid of finances money. They still have the opportunity to sell them warranty and sell them products, but I'm just saying if it comes down to it, I'm gonna hold as much money as I can for me before I start discounting the car. If I have to, go longer term or give up some rate, I'm gonna do so. So let's say I close somebody on a certain payment, it's $100 less. First thing I'm gonna do is take out my loan calculator like I showed you in the last video. I'm gonna put the full amount out the door in my calculator. Then I'm gonna put the, whatever term we're going, and I'm gonna adjust the rate to see, like let's say they tell me they're 750. I'll say, hey, what's your score, 1 to 10? Do you know your score? Great, 750, okay. So maybe I'll put like a 5% rate just to be safe. You don't wanna go too low. So you put a 5% rate, and then I'll put in my calculator. That way I can see what the payment will come out to. So if the payment comes out to exactly what my commitment was, I put that amount in, I put, let's say 84 payments, and I put like a good rate in there for what they can actually get. Then that way I know that I didn't lose any money. So I go to the manager and I say, hey, listen, they didn't look at the out the door number. All they really were concerned about was the payment. They're okay going 84 payments, they said, if they have to. Also, the kind of rate that they're looking for was 5%. And once he puts all that stuff in without discounting it, I already did it. So I know the payment's gonna be right where they wanna be. So to answer the question, I don't go out there with like the lowest rate right up front. That makes no sense. At least go for it. And then obviously the first thing you wanna do is term, then rate, and then you start discounting the car if you absolutely have to. Try to do none of them. If you have to, term first and then rate. And I give you guys a lot of closes. Switch them to a lease. Comment number 6. So this guy, he only goes over the out the door price. Finance goes over payment and rate. So he doesn't even show that. So my close will still work for that. And this is the close that I'd use for that. You know, one of the reasons why I picked this dealership is we have a great finance team. On a loan like this, without putting any money down or putting little money down, you know, a few percent on the interest rate will come out to thousands. So I won't be able to save you any more money here, but I'll make sure to take care of you on the back end, okay? And just hit them with something like that. If they say, okay, great. They just want a reason to sign. They want to feel like they're getting a good deal. So you can't save them any more money there, but you'll take care of them on the back end. You're doing everything you can, and that's how I close deals. Comment number 7. So this person, he pulls the credit first. The manager gets to see the credit, so he's guessing that they use the correct rate. Managers are gonna hold like 4% in the back when they do this. So they're gonna hold like the 2% that they can hold with the bank. Sometimes it's 1%, sometimes it's like 0.75, depending on the bank. But he's gonna hold like 4%. That way, if you give it all up front, he knows that 4% in the back. 2% he can hold on the rate. Finance makes money off of that. They don't make money off of the whole percentage, but just the rate that they're allowed to hold. So that 2%, in the other 2%, he's gonna take that off and fill it in with products. So in some situations, they might leave finance and their payment actually went down because finance couldn't sell them the products even when they dropped the rate 2%. Thank you guys for watching, and make sure to comment down below and let me know what you guys want to see next.